Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here we talk everything Milan, la corsa per la Champions Milan, 2 games left Milan, and no, we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be.
It's been, io ci credo, we're still there, those
6 points left to play, baby.
Those snakes obviously won today, but I think they're going to lose to Chievo. But a adieu to Signor Pellissier. You saw that they gave him a little ovation there at the San Siro. Steve, before we get, we got a special guest today. We got, if you guys may know him on the internet machine, we got Antonio from IFTV. We're going to be calling him soon. But even though it was week 36, Steve, of Serie A this week, it was also here in Montreal, or probably around the world, communion season, right? People
Communion confirmation season.
Communion confirmation, and
the cannolis are flowing. The restaurants are hip hopping.
Everything's double the price,
yeah.
But and it just happens to be that it was Little Presidente's first communion.
Yeah.
So and you were explaining to me that this was happening during the game against Fiorentina. So before we do give him a call, Steve, and if you guys want to, put it more in perspective, is that Presidente sent us pictures.
Of course.
Of little Presidente. I believe he had a calculator in his suit jacket, showing all those guys from over there. And then I think with Adriano saying, wow, does he realize you're just giving Steve material for like a lifetime? I believe those were your exact words. Steve, please, paint us a picture, please.
The holiest after baptism of sacred vows to take in the Catholic religion, ladies and gentlemen, the second one is thou of communion, where you receive the body of o Presidente, Christ, I mean. Little Presidente took this journey this fine weekend with the fantastic Presidente. First Lady was looking stunning. El Presidente was looking stunning with his Giorgio Tacchini suit. And El Presidente knew that the game was on, ladies and gentlemen, so he had to march into God's house, knowing that his beloved Milan was playing Fiorentina. With communion comes also the sacrament of confession. Confession, yes. Little Presidente, for sure, during his preparation, had to confess all his sins that this poor young boy has probably committed, and who knows how many years of life he has here, but he's already in the, it's time to confess your sins. So Presidente took it upon himself, as he was showered with holiness and love for Christ, our Lord Savior, went and he did his own confession.
Oh, okay.
So as he opens the door to the confession establishment, whatever it's called, he walks in and sits, and Father, we're going to call him John of La Salle, confess your sins, my son. Presidente starts. Guys, my first confession, Father, I double dipped in the suco 2 times with napagnotte. Okay, Marcello, I understand this sin, but it's not really that bad. It's bad! Namulika, a piece of bread, fell into Usuko. This destroyed Usuko of the First Lady, and he's lived with this sin for 14 years. The father, John, he said, please, Marcello, El Presidente, I'm sorry, you cannot tell me. Is there anything else you're doing? Today, Father, I am wearing this shirt without nakanotier. No undershirt, Father. I am exposed to Jesus. The priest said to him, Presidente, it's not that bad. Yes, it is, Father. Yes, it is.
He thought the holy water was boiling when he touched
it. The holy water was boiling when he touched it because he was exposing himself, his pectoral muscles, towards Jesus Christ our Lord. On this fantastic day for Il Piccolo Presidente. And then finally, the priest had nothing to say but Please give me 4 Hail Marys, 1 Our Father, and go see your son into the light of God.
Who am I? Who am I to question this story? And thank you, Steve, for that one there, and thank you, Presidente, for that one. So we're gonna give him a call right now. I'm sure he's got a lot of things to say about Milan Fiorentina. So yes, guys, this is Antonio from IFTV, and we're gonna make sure we don't hang up on him.
New York. We're dialing live.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Obviously did not answer.
It's okay. We're gonna try to call him back in a couple of minutes. But this is why we're live. We don't do second takes. We don't do anything differently. But we are going to, let me at least open up the presidential points, because suppose that's the least that I can do. And why don't you? By the way, we're going to be talking about our special sponsors here. As you can see here, we do have a couple of bottles of brioche. And here we go with Milan Weekly Podcast. And let's see if we can give him a call again, because maybe for him it is long distance. For me, I got the Canada US plan. It's all good. So when I go to Vegas next week, I can call you.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
When I'm sitting with Bret Hart.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
All right, so I guess he's not answering, or he's going to try to call me back, or he's trying to call me back as we speak. But Steve, let's go through very quickly we're going to talk about. He wants to talk about the Piontek scoring slump. He wants to talk about Donnarumma, what he said. Bakayoko part 1 and 2, obviously. But in the end, Steve, at a glance, right? Did you like what you saw?
Did I like what I saw? Right now, I would take any points. So I'm going to stay consistent with that.
They showed a lot more.
Win is win.
They showed a lot more heart than
Fiorentina.
Yeah, but Fiorentina just sucked.
Fiorenina's in a slump. 5 points away from relegation. Who would have thought?
Fiorentina has been sucking for a while.
And we talked about it quickly in terms of if we could touch on Fiorentina a bit.
Yeah.
Fiorentina is an important
Let's give one
team
last time. Yeah.
for Serie A.
They are. They're part of the Sette Signorine.
Your call has been forwarded.
All right. So I guess we're gonna go good old school.
Old school style.
Old school. So it's pretty sad to see them 4 points. But Montella was all smiles, was he not?
Yeah, of course. So
Hanno giocato bene. Everything's good from over there. Let's start off by I did a little video with Tommy before the game, and
can I say something? He should
course.
do a video before every game.
Because whatever he says, we do
Exactly. We
Çalhanoğlu,
contradict everything. Çalhanoğlu the cadaver.
The cadaver, yeah, and he actually ended up scoring, and he didn't have a bad game.
No.
Bakayoko, I liked what he said. It was like, we don't have a choice, right? I think, honestly, guys, I believe he did have a choice in Jose Mauri, but at 2 games from 2 games, you had 3 games, you needed those points, right?
Yeah.
And do you take a chance playing at Fiorentina? Playing at a team where Fiorentina has not won at home, I believe, in X amount of games.
Yeah.
Everything the soccer gods would have said, we were going to lose that game or we're going to tie that game, right? And it's not like Fiorentina, Steve, had... it's not like they were like, oh my God, they're back and forth, everything's good, so... I don't know. It's just... but Bakayoko in the end...
Bakayoko is lucky that we're in this situation right now.
Do you think if Gattuso still had it right over here with Bakayoko, he would have made him play?
I don't know. I think that has to do a lot with the fact that we needed the points. He's been a trusted midfielder for Milan this year.
Yeah.
What he did was inexcusable. If we were sitting in third spot with 2 games left, I don't think he would have been playing this game. Mind you, the mindset of the team wouldn't have been in
No, exactly.
this fragile anyways. But for me, my question to you is, what message does that send to everybody else? So Gattuso's hard nose, discipline, all about Milan. And now you have to play the guy who told you basically to go F off on national TV in front of everybody.
Or maybe, if we take back from what we translated live from his Instagram post, and they both said their pieces that supposedly he was just repeating. Maybe Gattuso said something to him that, I don't know. In the end, guys, it's we always say, like, we always have our heart into it. The brioche. We have our heart into it, but in the end, we didn't really have a choice. It's not we're gonna put Bertolacci or Montolivo in there.
No, per favor.
And then like in business, you can't make it about yourself, right? And Gattuso, could not make it about himself, but it was in no position with 3 games left playing Fiorentina to make it about himself and go, you know what, I'm gonna make my point. You're gonna sit on the bench. I'm sure stuff was cleared out. I don't know if they're gonna sign him for the 35 million. That I seriously doubt from now. But anyways, you wanna go through the presidential points, the questions? Sure. Hey guys, maybe something happened. Hopefully not that. Well, we spoke to him not even 10 minutes ago. He was everything. Maybe he realized it wasn't an Italian. Who knows? We got. Oh, gotta open up the email. So, he talks about it's been
make it holy for communion time.
You want to make it?
Yeah, make it holy.
What do you want me to make?
The passages.
Presidential point number 1 from the book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 4.
Amen.
It's been 5 games Piontek hasn't scored. His last goal was versus Juve in a 2-1 loss. According to Gazzetta dello Sport, had Piontek scored versus Fiorentina, he would have tied the Serie A record for scoring against 15 different opponents in his first season in Serie A. The only 2 other players to accomplish the feat were John Charles, 1957-1958, and don't think the Presidente looked that up, guys. Right off the top of his head. And Ronaldo, 97 and 98 with Inter. So we said it many times, Steve, the forwards are not getting service and the bulk of the blame is there. But let's focus on Piontek. How do you evaluate his own game lately and what could he have done better?
There was a slump coming, guys. Let's face it. It takes a special person to go the complete year scoring consistently without one of these droughts. Could he have picked the worst time? No. But he's also very young. I'm still on the fence with the service, no service there. It's the same thing with Silva, the same thing with Higuain, the same thing with Cutrone, the same thing with Piontek. It's 5 different guys.
Yeah.
So I know that some people on the Twitterverse say, service the strikers to make his own goals. I am one to believe that 110%. But he's got to get some action. He's got to get some more dangerous balls.
Is he? Do you find he's been found more defensively, more back? Do you think maybe he's not used to that? Is he? I don't know.
I think it's just a different type of game, right? So we all know what Suso does with the ball on the right-hand side, cuts and crosses in. You're not getting the striker in a motion where he can anticipate the player. It's box work, right?
Yeah.
So there's 30, 40 crosses that are going to come in a game. You can get yourself on the end of maybe 5% of those crosses, maybe. The Italians defend. Let's face it, guys. And you're leaving him as an object where the defense can float to him and get to him easily because he's not in a fluid movement. He's very static. I think he's a player who needs to have the ball a bit more in the flow of play, which Milan is terrible at. Yeah. We are terrible in the final third, and we know we're terrible in the final third because we're always doing the same thing.
So, guys, can he at least unblock himself for the last couple of games?
It would be nice.
We got Frosinone, we got
6 points, baby, 6 points.
And we need Atalanta to tie or lose basically that's what we need, right? And guys, I don't want to hear about Juventus is gonna do it on purpose to fuck us. Guys, when was the last time Juventus lost 2 games in a row? Right? You think they're gonna lose to Roma and Atalanta back to back?
Is that the soccer god?
That is the soccer.
Is that the soccer? Hello?
That's why
Hello,
I don't gamble
soccer god?
anymore.
Yes. Yeah, it's probably gonna happen, guys. It's probably gonna happen. And you know what? It's our fault. I'm gonna say it on this podcast, live on YouTube. Antonio's on the phone. It's our fault.
Vai,
Hello, Antonio.
pronto, finalmente.
We tried to call you. I go, maybe he's busy. He's doing something different.
No, it went down 2-3 times. The phone call was rejected.
No problem. No problem. So yes, guys, we do have Antonio here from IFTV, pure Milanista. We already had started, but we wanted just to hear from you very quickly. How are you a Milanista? If you want to tell all our listeners, what made you become a Milanista?
What made you become a Milanista? That's a great question. First of all, you don't become a Milanista. You're just born like that.
Beautiful.
Okay? So when I started to first time opening my eyes and I started to see 3 different color jerseys, and on my little town in Bari, they were the Juventus jersey, the Inter Milan jersey, and the AC Milan jersey. The first thing that I saw, I went through the black and red immediately, like that was my life saver. That this is the team that I wanted to cheer of. And at the same time, when I fell in love with the color of the shirt, Rivera was playing over there, and I guess back then, I don't know if you remember, I don't know how old you are, the rivalry was between Rivera and Mazzola. And so when we were young kids, we used to just killing each other about who's the better player. So we used to actually fight over, the right to say Rivera is better than Mazzola. So that's the main thing. You just don't choose to be an AC Milan fan. You have to be born to be an AC Milan fan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get the sense of it, right?
I love it. That's what it is. You're born, non si diventa, si nasce, right? So there we go.
Si nasce Milanisti.
Exactly. So we were just discussing maybe your point of view on Piontek not scoring. Is it what can he do to do better? Like people say, oh, no service, but I was trying to say maybe he goes back too much. But is he a guy like? Is it the problem of the midfield? Is it the problem of the assist guys, or is this Piontek on a slump by itself?
This is my take. First of all, I respect Gattuso so much. To me, Gattuso, in the beginning, I was skeptical about his skills as a coach, but I do respect him a lot. But the only thing that I'm not going to say that I disagree with Gattuso. What I would have done different than Gattuso is just pairing Piontek with Cutrone. This is the reasons why. First of all, I will definitely sacrifice one of the defenders, okay? In this particular case, let me pick up one of them, will be Rodriguez, okay? If Gattuso will have just adapted the 3-5-2, with having Cutrone and Piontek play together right on top of that. First of all, Cutrone is not an easy player to guard. It's all over the place. Cutrone and Piontek, those are 2 different players that they attract a lot of defenders on him. Let's say the ball goes into Cutrone. So 100% you're going to see 2 people from the opposite team just trying to guard Cutrone. That will free Piontek and vice versa. Piontek gets the ball, gives Cutrone a lot of space to get himself free, either to get a pass or to be ready to be served. So what I think is happening is Gattuso is playing a little bit too conservative because he's afraid to get to be caught off guard and have the opposite team scoring in contropiede. But with the midfielders that we have, I will tell you. Let me just tell you the formation that I would use. I will leave Romagnoli, Musacchio, and Calabria right on the back over there. I will put Kessier and Bakayoko. I will not put the 3-5-2 will be, as I said before, Romagnoli, Musacchio, and Calabria, Kessier, Bakayoko, Suso, and Çalhanoğlu, the 5 midfielders. The 4 midfielders. Right in front of them slightly, I will put Paquetá, and Paquetá will be serving either Cutrone and Piontek, like making the final little pass. But that doesn't mean that, all the skills of Suso and Çalhanoğlu and all the rest of the midfielders are all there. This will be an attacking team instead of just being, a wait-and-see team. In other words, many times what I've seen, the mistake that we're making, is that we are waiting for the other team's mistake before we take advantage of their mistake. Instead of being more propositive in our attacking mentality, we're waiting for the other team to make a mistake. But Milan like all the biggest champions. Look, Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't been scoring the last 5 or 6 games either. So it's just a bad stretch, and unfortunately, this bad stretch has been happening right now when we need him the most. And I think Gattuso could have used both of them. I mean, at the same time, instead of just stretch one out, and then when there is nothing left on the tank of one guy, and then you replace him with Cutrone and vice versa. So Gattuso has been a little bit unsure about using both of them. I'm not sure if Maldini and Leonardo have something to say about that. I'm not letting Gattuso making all the decisions, but I think Gattuso is doing that. And I think it would be wise for him to be using Cutrone and Piontek at the same time to make them both productive as a striker, because they both instill a lot of fear on any defender.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Steve, I think you agree on those. And I think take the chances, right? Piontek and Cutrone up front.
I find it. I think this conversation would have been best if we would have had it in maybe December.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's something that he could try. If maybe next year the new manager, if Gattuso continues, thinks about this. I am always in favor of the two strikers. I like the fact that they can learn to play off each other, right? Learn to play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Right now, I think it's
absolutely.
It's not,
I agree 100%.
Right now, I don't think it's the time to do it. I think he's gonna stay, like Antonio said. Unfortunately, we're playing possum.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the other team to either make a mistake or do something that's un-Milan-like and actually be creative in the final third.
And go final third. So okay, so we'll see.
You remember, guys, when Ancelotti used to let AC Milan play or start used to let AC Milan play? We were not waiting. We were attacking the ball handler, one-on-one very quickly with Paredes on the back over there, Costa Costa. The offside was like a watch, was a switch watch for us. Everything worked perfectly. We were like a synchronized machine. It was impossible. It was an automatic thing. I mean, you know that the ball is going to go to AC Milan regardless. You lose the ball immediately, you get the ball back. No, we're waiting for them to make a mistake. Yeah. You don't play like that. I mean, you don't play. Unfortunately, this is some of the players that we have right now. They're not really AC Milan caliber players, but they're not necessarily bad players. So I would say Gattuso has done a great job, but to me, he could have made AC Milan to be a little bit more of an aggressive team and a propositive team. Instead of waiting for something to happen, you have to make things happen for yourself. That's what we learned this in the history of AC Milan. Our DNA, the AC Milan DNA, is not to wait for somebody to make mistakes. We have to be the one attacking and making things happening for ourselves. Don't wait for anybody to give you anything for free. Yeah. Because no one is ever going to give it. And any team that plays against us, believe it or not, they play the best game of their career, of their life. Because all they wanted to do is just to come up either with a point or undefeated from San Siro, from their own field.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean, anybody that plays AC Milan is the most gorgeous team in Serie A. Who doesn't want to have a positive result when they play against AC Milan? Anybody, especially that piece of garbage of Allegri. Especially, the guy, we bullied him. All of a sudden, he goes to Juventus. He thinks he's such a superstar. But, it is such a poor job with us. Except for the year when Castano and Ibrahimovic they were on top of there, making things happen for AC Milan. And we got rid of all of them. We got rid of Castano. We got rid of Ibrahimovic. And then all the best defenders that we had, we sold them. Everybody. Then, Berlusconi decided not to run the team anymore, and then the misfortune AC Milan in terms of qualifying for the Champions League and being the leader into the Champions, the way we've always been in the last 20 years, we started to struggle a little bit.
Decline, a little bit of a decline.
I gotta tell you, guys, I'm seeing some positive sign again, because regardless whether we make it or we don't make it this year, which I still have a lot of hope. I see Maldini back into the management team. When Maldini's over there, things are going to happen for the good. Okay? And Leonardo at the same time, those are two people that they really care a lot. They are the DNA of the AC Milan. More Maldini than Leonardo, but, seeing them together, I think they can feed off each other, their experience and their knowledge of the game.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Good to hear from a perspective from an old school guy, but a new school thing, right?
Yeah, but Cassano, he didn't have the best of years. He was just on a team that was gonna win the Scudetto nonetheless.
And then we
it's not
saved,
because of Cassano.
and we saved his life, and then what did he do? And he turned his back, e sono interista, no? I have a Cassano jersey, by the way. Ma fatto male Cassano, ma fatto male.
Ma ascolta, Cassano era, quando ha giocato, when he actually played in AC Milan, he was a professional. The fact that he was cheering for Inter Milan when he was a young kid, that didn't mean he didn't stop Cassano from performing the highest level. Cassano he was always one of the best midfielders in Italy and Europe. This is not because I'm saying it. Totti actually said it. You don't shortchange Cassano. The fact that he's growing up with the black and blue striped shirt, it can happen to anybody. Unfortunately, it didn't happen to all of us because we are biggest AC Milan fan and we're going to stay that way.
Exactly.
So let's keep Cassano on the positive. You guys, that I'm a big fan of Cassano.
Yeah,
so,
from
Cassano.
the Barry, obviously.
That was just Antonio to get the blood going. I wanted to get the blood going, the blood pressure up.
You got me. You got me.
On the blood going. Why don't we talk about? We were talking a bit about Bakayoko before. Now I'm gonna ask you this: do you think that Gattuso, uno da Milan, stuff like this? Do you think that if there was really a problem or no, he didn't like the apology, Bakayoko would have played, or do you think that Gattuso was, I have no other choice, I cannot put Jose Mauri? Where do you stand? Obviously, it was the right choice because he played good, but do you think that Gattuso made a choice with his head and not his heart?
You've been coaching AC Milan. You know what's at stake on your for the team and your career. And Gattuso is a guy that he cares. So maybe there was some misunderstanding over there. And I think Gattuso, the way he handled it, whether he didn't really air a lot of the garbage into the prime time TV. All he did, he just let things go. I'm sure he was very, 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 very upset with Bakayoko. But he handled himself like a professional. I think Bakayoko could have been more ready than the way, I saw what happened, technically, like everybody else, I guess, but, it was a negative episode that Gattuso was capable very quickly to put it behind himself and to show the media and the professional coaching that we have right now in Serie A. And I'm not going to make the name of some of them that I really, they saw a bunch of disgrace. He handled the situation like a professional. In other words, Bakayoko was playing in the first team the next week. Okay, we saw him against Fiorentina. No, if Bakayoko and Gattuso they were on a collision course, what makes you think that Gattuso would have just put Bakayoko on the first team? So what happened is, when they went into the locker room, they probably cursed each other out. Then they sat down, and Gattuso is a type of coach that even though he seems crazy, he's a very, very rational coach. He knows how to talk to players, he works with players, and he knows that players, they have their negative moments too. But he actually, Gattuso is type of the player and coach at the same time, that he understands the psychology of the game and the psychology of the player wearing the AC Milan shirt. Gattuso put a lot of stake on Bakayoko. All of us, in the beginning, we didn't like the way he was playing because Bakayoko, on a big stage like AC Milan, San Siro, la squadra e la scala del calcio, the guy felt a little pressure. And then after 2-3 weeks, he's starting to settle into the team, and he demonstrated to me that he's a player that can wear the AC Milan jersey. I like Bakayoko personally a lot. Okay, he surprised me on that side so much. This guy here. So Gattuso, I think he appreciates his soccer skills and his personality. Everybody can have a bad day. So in that particular day against the Bologna, I guess they didn't see each other face to face, and they had a big misunderstanding. So, but the locker room solved everything. We didn't go into the primetime TV the way Spalletti does. They stripped Icardi from the captainship, and then they humiliated his wife on primetime TV in front of all of those media, and they make a circus out of a situation like that. Gattuso never let things like that going out of the locker room. And I think for that, I give him a lot of respect. I really do respect Gattuso. And if I were the management and AC Milan hopefully makes it into the Champions League, I would keep Gattuso as the coach of AC Milan.
So we have somebody here that would keep Gattuso. I think some of us have spoken from the Milan club, that we would definitely keep Gattuso, but we wouldn't change Gattuso for a Gasperini or a Di
Francesco, per l'amor di Dio.
Okay, all right. So you name it. Okay, since you brought it up, he's the only coach. As we all know, every coach fortune is tied to the position that the team for the champions. If I had to see someone replacing Gattuso, I don't know if you've been hearing us on the podcast, the only one that I really, really appreciate, not because he's winning now or because his team is doing very well, is Gasperini. Gasperini is a very, very, he's an excellent coach that can coach some of the best team in the world. Now, when he coached Inter, that he was sacked after 2-3 games, he's the one that implemented the 3-5-2 that everybody's trying to copy, like Conte and like all of those big guns. He's the only one that implemented the 3-5-2 formation. It was Gasperini. And Gasperini makes the team run like a machine. Everybody knows where they are and what they are supposed to do. Nobody's struggling to do anything with Gasperini. Gasperini is a guy that puts the pressure on the board and makes the whole team going up and down like a unit. You never seen gaps in Gasperini style of play. And, the results are very clear. I mean, you see that, look at these two months apart. He was basically not given all the value that he actually had when he was playing in Napoli. And then he goes under Gasperini, the guy becomes a superstar. So he's one of the few coaches in Serie A that he can really make, he can bring all the talent out of somebody and just put it back into the field to the service of the team. Okay? And one more thing that I wanted to say. Gasperini, everybody keeps saying that Gasperini can only coach teams on the middle of the Classifica. I disagree 100% with that, because so far the only chance that he was given to Gasperini was with Inter. It was not a full season that he coached. It was just 2-3 games, and then those big experts in the Inter universe, they decided to sack him. But I would like to see Gasperini coaching a team like Juventus, like AC Milan, or like Ajax, or like Real Madrid, or like those teams that they have a lot of money into their budget. Gasperini will probably be the best, one of the best coaches, top 3 or 4 in the world.
I guess
this is my take.
Maybe
and if Gattuso has to go, I'd rather to take Gasperini, because I don't think that Di Francesco is any better than Gattuso.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Di Francesco is a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but it's not much better than Gattuso. If I have to keep somebody, I'll keep somebody that has an AC Milan DNA. And in this particular case, Gattuso's got more DNA than he has more AC Milan DNA than Di Francesco.
That's definitely we're on the same page on that one there, and
not on the same page.
No, I'm saying that Di Francesco would
Di
be
Francesco,
a change. Would not be
Di
a
Francesco,
dollar for 4 quarters.
No,
That's what the change would be.
For me, I get the Gasperini. I get it. But Gasperini needs a project. He needs time, and he needs a project. That's where he's succeeded multiple times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in these economic times
of Milan,
especially of Milan, they don't have that window that he needs to implement his philosophy. That's the problem with Gasperini. That's why he failed at Inter, because these teams are used to buying their way out of trouble. Unfortunately, now you cannot. So now you're stuck in the middle. You can't buy yourself out of trouble because of financial fair play, but you don't have time for a project. This is the limbo and to be very honest with you, if I'm Gasperini, I don't take this Milan job.
Because of maybe the pressure.
I see what you're coming from. I'll tell you, I agree with you, but I never decided. I want to plant this seed on everybody's head. Okay, how many players did Atalanta sell in the last 2-3 years? We got 3 or 4 of them. We got Kessié from Atalanta, we got Conte from Atalanta, we got Bonaventura from Atalanta, and other big-time players that wound up leaving Atalanta and going in other, major Italian clubs. Now, Gasperini is the only coach that keeps Atalanta on the top of the sheet because he's capable to look at a young talent, put him on the field, give him the time, like you guys said, because he doesn't have all of this pressure, and implement the talent of the player. Gasperini knows how to teach soccer. Gasperini is a teacher. Okay? Gasperini is a coach and he's a teacher at the same time. You know, if you see, would you just put a young player in the hand of Spalletti, or you would you put the very same player in the hand of Gasperini and hope for the same result? If you were to choose between Spalletti and Gasperini, I mean, the choice is very obvious. You're going to go with Gasperini. Am I right or wrong?
I would go with
100%.
Gasperini just because Spalletti would try to tell me that the star from the north wind is going to collide with another star, and he's going to just blow my mind. I'm going to plant this seed with you, Antonio. I would leave Gasperini at Atalanta, and if I'm Milan management, I go hire every single scout that Atalanta has. Then I have my project. Then I have my young players coming in. Then I'm going to go find the teacher.
That's a good point there, but the scouts.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. But listen, we have a talent on AC Milan too. Let me just tell you about what I like about Gattuso, and I will just try to compare Gattuso with Gasperini. Gattuso brought Calabria into the. Gattuso was the coach of the youngsters of the AC Milan. Okay, he brought Calabria up. He brought Cutrone up. He's bringing a lot of players, things that Allegri never did it. Okay, and things that the only one that was Mihailovic was that he believed in Donnarumma. He brought Donnarumma when he was 16 years old. Okay, so on this kind of attitude of that the coaches have, Gasperini and Gattuso, I see them just give the chance to the young people, and they're not afraid to make mistakes because at some point our talents they have to be played. You cannot really, buy yourself out and spend millions of dollars and import people from teams that and championship that not necessarily they translate in the right player to be playing in the Serie A. The Serie A is a complicated stage. What makes you think that somebody plays well in Argentina, then comes to Serie A and he's going to play just as well? It can work 50% of the time, but we have seen massive failure. Okay. We have seen massive failure where teams they want to spend a lot of money and they came back with basically zero into the party. Now the coach, the president of Palermo. Now we were the podcast we were discussing Palermo. The guy he was another genius. He was probably one of the best scouting. I like to know who was the scouting into Palermo. Probably was Sabatini or one of those guys. Those are the guys that they know how to evaluate talent. They went to pick up Dybala played in Palermo, they had Cavani in Palermo, they had Toni in Palermo, they had Amauri in Palermo.
Bellotti.
All of those players that they were nobody when they were on the
Zaccardo.
on the country.
Yeah, there's so many talents over there in the Palermo. They're making a lot of good points. But
Povero Palermo. A moment of silence for Palermo.
Yeah, they're what happens?
Serie C.
I know.
Serie C, yeah, they're not Manage. But that's not Zamparini's fault.
That's
right?
a Cazzotti Stambate.
What?
Cazzotti Stambate.
That's some buddies over there. But you know what? Let's close off with this, and we're gonna segue from Gasperini. Now, Gasperini this Saturday. Now, I said Juventus hasn't lost a game at home all season. Juventus, when was the last time they lost 2 games in a row? I asked to you, Antonio. Ce la facciamo? Are we making the Champions League?
I know the question. I know what you want to get with. But if you asking me to be cheering for the Juventus, I will never do that. Okay, number one. Number two, I'll tell you the reasons why. Juventus is supposed to win. Okay, they don't need us to cheer for them or to wish for them to beat Atalanta. Juventus on the paper is 10 times better than Atalanta in terms of talent, in terms of quality of players, in terms of it's like 200-1 in terms of how much they spend to put the team together with the money that Gasperini has been afforded to be coaching Atalanta. So on the paper, Juventus is supposed to be beating Atalanta 4-0. Now, do I believe that Juventus can play into the favor of Atalanta? 100%. We've seen it. I've seen it last week even against Roma. It comes the second half, Juventus slows down. Okay? Juventus is a type of very, very trick team. And who's coaching Juventus right now? Allegri. let me tell you something about this guy here, my friend. Allegri is the biggest AC Milan hater. Allegri was never sacked by anybody, but he was sacked by AC Milan. You remember the biggest example when we lost 4-0 against
Sassuolo.
Yeah.
Okay, and who scored those 4 goals?
Berardi.
O Calabrese.
Thank you. So that was a disgrace. Now, Spalletti, Allegri now, he's thinking with himself, I said, hey, listen, I won the campionato. I have Atalanta in front of me. If the guy were to choose whether to see AC Milan playing the Champions League or whether to see Atalanta playing the Champions League, what do you think he's going to do?
Atalanta.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Agnelli is the type of person that with his last dog over there, what's his name, Neves, he doesn't want to, non vuole perdere l'impassibilità, he doesn't want to lose, the record of playing at the stadium over there and then give up a win to Atalanta. So the worst that is going to happen is Atalanta is going to come off with a tie. And I will not be surprised if Atalanta will win. Not because they will deserve to win, it's because Juventus might just lay down and let Atalanta just take the game. This is the only thing that I'm afraid of. Now, technically speaking, Juventus should be winning, and should be winning at least 1 or 2 to nothing against Atalanta. But it's going to happen, it's out of our hands. And the more we talk about it, the more frustrating we can get. So what I'm going to do my Scaramanti game. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to wake up and do the things that I always did, and with and hoping for the best, because I have no trust on the Juventus organization, and especially on Allegri. So if you guys thinking that we should be pulling for Allegri because we need them, believe me, the Juventus, they hate us.
Yep.
Okay, so they will do their job without thinking whether they AC Milan is going to take an advantage over their winning over Atalanta, or whether Atalanta is going to be moving forward if they lay down and let them go. The main goal of Juventus, first of all, they failed this year, because winning a campionato for Juventus after spending all of those millions of dollars on Cristiano Ronaldo and company, it's a disgrace. What they did this year is a disgrace. They did much better without Cristiano Ronaldo. Not they bought this big gun over there. I know that they bought it just to sell the t-shirt, but don't put any hope on the Juventus to lay, playing hard just because it's the last game that they're going to be playing at the stadium, and because they want to show the fans that their team is one of the best teams. Juventus is a tricky team, and the management of Juventus, especially this Agnelli and his last dog Neves, they don't like us. Why? Okay, if I were to ask you this question, Juventus had a chance to take it easy when he was playing against AC Milan, and they didn't do it. They were playing like it was the last game on earth, so they wound up winning against us, even though they did rob the game. Okay, I have to be honest with you.
I don't know. I have to disagree.
It was a penalty.
I have to disagree.
Am I right or wrong?
No, I have to disagree.
Okay.
I think we got
Gosh.
intimidated. We got intimidated.
I hung up.
He hung up.
I hung up again. So scusate. So
Yeah.
you say
Okay.
you disagree?
Yeah.
with
So
it?
just to pick up.
Go ahead.
Just to pick up off that, Antonio, that game against Juve for me was probably one of the most frustrating games that I've watched in a long time. And it's not because we lost. It's more because how we lost. We took the lead. We were amazingly, and Vinny and I were watching the game together.
Mhm.
Looked at ourselves and I said, we're taking it to them. We're getting the chances. We did it to ourselves that game. The penalty, whatever. I get what you're going there, but then the winning goal, even a tie would have been good against Juventus. I would have been happy with a tie, but the continuous elementary mistakes that we make when
In
it's
the
in the final third, and even in our third, well, Calabria, who put in a ball in the middle. Antonio,
Right.
I know, I watch IFTV, I know you still play with your buddies. The first thing to do as a defender if you're in trouble is kick the ball out. You know that, I know that. At a professional stage, you cannot permit yourself to make that kind of mistake, especially against a team like you.
I know where he's coming from, saying that Juventus didn't have to come out to tutta
100%,
forza, right? And they had
100%.
Dybala on, but it just seemed that we had the chance. We had the chance to win, and then it's like as soon as they got that, okay, we're gonna do this, and then unfortunately, but I understand your point.
Psychologically, the game was already taken away from us. When you're not given a penalty, that is 1,000% penalty. A lot of the guys here are starting to flip around. I mean, you could be a champion. But we are human. If we get affected by watching those unbelievable calls, missed calls, and everybody saw in the world, including Juventus fans, that I was watching the game, they said, my God, this is a penalty, 1,000%. How can I not give it the penalty? And you know what? We are talking about now 1 point or 2 points just making into the Champions League. Those are points that are crucial right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just say one more thing. Why? I mean, all the time. I mean, am I going to be a crying baby right now? No, but I'm going to say what hurts me. What hurts me that we're given penalty against us. They were not even close to be called penalty. And I'm going to name even one of them. And you know which one I'm going to be naming to you. I'm going to be just recalling you guys. That goal, that penalty that we got against Inter Milan, where what's his name, Politano went to trip intentionally on Castillejo's foot. That was not a penalty.
No.
The guy had Castillejo had his foot planted into the
ground.
the area di rigore, the penalty box.
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy, he was walking away. He was running backwards, Politano, and intentionally goes and trips over on Castillejo's leg. Castillejo didn't move the foot. He didn't plant the foot. He didn't put the foot forward to just trip Politano. Politano went to put his foot on Castillejo's foot. Okay, it was given a penalty. That penalty was not even 10% of what he should have probably, comparing to the penalty that was not given to us against Juventus. Now, those questionable goals, those are points that are very crucial points. Okay, both penalties they were given during a crucial time. Okay, when Milan needed the 3 points against Juventus, or even the 1 point against Juventus, and I can see that we were not supposed to lose. We wound up losing the game. And Spalletti, that was in a big slump, was probably at the point to be sacked if we would have lost the derby. It would have been a disaster for them. But guess what? I think I'm not prejudiced, but I think that there is something that c'è una forza. There is a big something that I'm going to name what it is that works against us. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to spell it out for you right now. The fortune AC Milan lately has been going down south because politically, our ex-president Silvio Berlusconi, he hasn't been seen with the sympathy that he was afforded on the past 15 or 20 years for obvious reasons that nobody's going to be here discussing. Now, when Berlusconi, I'm going to factor one more thing in for you guys, and I'm going to plant a seed. Maybe the next time we talk, we can discuss this. You're going to be telling me we are all humans right now, right? So humans make a mistake because if we were, if we can, you and I, we can tell each other that no, we don't make a mistake, and referees they don't make a mistake. You know that the VAR is imperfect, and I know that referees they have bias. No, I said, hey Antonio, but now you're going a little bit too far. I'm going to tell you why. Politics plays a big role in the life of everybody. No, you might just call a referee, the referee is supposed to be impartial. They are supposed to be impartial. Are they actually impartial all the time? I don't think so. I'll tell you the reasons why. Some of them might be liking more the lefties in Italy. Exactly the same thing that is happening in the United States over here.
Yeah.
We have the socialists and we have the capitalists. In Italy, we have the leftists and we have the centrodestra. Okay, Berlusconi happened to be one of the centrodestra guys. Now, all the politics in Italy is flowing toward the centro-sinistra, okay? So, and I think that some of those refs, even though politically they're not supposed to be professing their faith or their loyalty, I think they make decisions based on that, of their political beliefs too, okay? And I can tell you, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's one thing that they factor into their decision making is the fact that they never liked the president of AC Milan, and in this particular case, Berlusconi. Even though Berlusconi is no longer the president of AC Milan, the fact that he brought AC Milan at the level and at the fame that the club is still enjoying right now, I think is a factor, and everybody's trying to catch up, and their frustration is still is still been used against us. Okay, now this is only my personal opinion, and I could be wrong,
Huh.
but
Everybody's.
I don't I don't want to just strike or say anything bad. I'm not saying that the referees right now are corrupted, but I think something that might be factored into the decision of some of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
And I would say, a good 4 or 5 of those referees, and I'm not going to make the name of who they are. I think it has to do with the fact that Berlusconi played a big role in Italy in the last 15, 20 years,
Hey,
and the fact that they don't like Berlusconi that factor into the game and that decision making when it came to the point to award AC Milan a penalty or give a penalty against AC Milan.
Yeah.
So now the mic goes back to you guys.
Oh, but you know what? It's everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But at least you know what? Even though it's refreshing because you're explaining your point of view, not just pointing fingers, and it's a different point of view. And I really want to take the time to say thank you very much for giving us your time tonight, guys. If you want to see him, they do have the live podcast there on the IFTV. I know you guys are all over. Would it be Twitter?
Hey,
Instagram?
Antonio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I need an extra large Piantek. Pack.
I'll get it to you. Just send me the address and I will give it to you.
Or
Okay,
maybe
this is the president. This is the president from the IFTV podcast.
Okay.
Hey guys, if I'm coming up over there, I'm going to call you guys because there is a chance I'm coming to watch the Ferrari, the Formula One Grand Prix. Maybe we'll get together for lunch and we'll have some fun.
100%.
with
Okay.
pleasure. You have my phone number. Please give us a call. And once again, grazie mille.
Okay, ciao ragazzi.
Ciao,
Ciao.
ciao. Now I can push the button.
Yeah, now you can hang up.
So, actually, you know what? We're gonna tell Presidente next time we have him on. We're gonna do like the live podcast for 2.5 hours. Man, we're just sitting down and just listening to the guy. He's got
Amazing
but,
insight.
But you see, like that's the difference. That's the difference with you can have an opinion, but at least he explains.
Yeah.
You know, and your typical Italian old man at the bar will yell and scream, but him, like
He formulates an opinion.
He formulates an opinion.
I watch IFTV, guys, so I know how to get under Antonio's skin. First is Cassano, then it's politics and Milan, and you got yourself a 1.5 hour pass.
And there we go. And obviously, President, we couldn't go through all these presidential boards because we're still been here for we're on for 53 minutes. Steve, in a UFC fight, were you on the Bakayoko side or the Gattuso?
I'm always with Gattuso.
People are saying, oh, but Bakayoko, he's got the reach, he's got the. I go, guys, Gattuso would have went there with the poke to the eye a la Ric Flair, dirtiest player in the game, and it was done. But the poll that say 67% were with Gattuso.
What didn't we touch over here? What did I see there? Point number 2, Donnarumma.
That the love-hate relationship with Bakayoko. No, sorry. In a post-match interview, Donnarumma said, "Let's get the 6 points and see what happens. I hope to bring Milan to Champions League because it deserves it. It pulls back off the improbable and finish top 4. We'll be happy about it. We won't really care how they did it." Do you agree with Gigi that we deserve it?
Gigi listens to the podcast. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Because it's about 4 weeks we've been saying it. We went 12 points at play, 9 points at play, now 6 points at play, ladies and gentlemen.
So you think he listens to us while he's training?
Guaranteed.
Okay.
He's got the beats.
Wireless.
Wireless, of course.
Obviously. And if he does deserve, you know what? We're gonna close it into the hour. Let's go. You think we should ask Tommy?
We have the Twitter questions to do first.
There is Twitter questions.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so I told Tommy already. Tommy, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to make it, but okay, here we go. I gotta go through the other Twitter machine.
This is all high tech, new phone.
Hold on.
Why don't you tell everybody the phone that you have now?
It's a Huawei P20 Mate Pro. That if I want to go to the States, they're going to arrest me because, Huawei, you can't do it from over there. But, aspetta qua. Click on Ask Vinny and Steve. Okay, now I got to go to latest. 8 hours ago, 10 hours ago. Why aren't you doing these things? Hold on a second. Okay. Good day, boys. AC Milan, T. Pepperoni.
T. Pepperoni!
Hope you guys are well. My mind is thinking that Juve will not lose 2 games straight. Let's be confident we win both our games and Juve beat Atalanta. What do you say do we say to that? Not today, right?
Not today.
I think he's referencing the Game of Thrones thing. Thingamajiggy over there. But yeah, I said the exact same thing, Dom, that I don't see them losing 2 games in a row. Milan legends.
Legends.
Do you feel like this last-minute scramble for the last two games is too little, too late? Even if Milan wins them, do you really think that they can make fourth position despite the result of the other teams, or is the damage already done?
Damage is already done.
Damage is done, yeah, obviously, but it's like if Atalanta ties one, right? We're in. We just gotta win.
We're going with.
We need the money. We just want Champions League
Yeah.
for the money, right? We're not going for the prestige. We're not gonna make the semifinals. Then again, we never know. But
We never know.
guys, we
We
need the
just need to get into the tournament.
money. Exactly.
We need that luster back for so many reasons: financial, prestige. I hope Liverpool loses against Tottenham because I still want to stay with the second most Champions League
Yeah.
trophies. So many things. We need these colors back in the Champions League desperately. To answer Milan Legends' question, I believe, and Antonio touched upon it as well. Unfortunately, too many lost points. And I'm not looking at the lost points that have controversy. I'm looking at the lost points where we inflicted damage to ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Frank Principe, cazzo di Juventini can never win a game when we need them to. What are your thoughts around the rumors that if Conte goes to Juve and Allegri comes back to Milan?
Ooh, that we should have asked Antonio that question.
Yeah, seriously, no. At this point, it's like no. I want recycled.
It's
Basically,
not recycled
Allegri.
to me.
No. I mean, Allegri to me is a fine tweaker.
Yeah.
Goes into a team and just fine tweaks the little things to make it better, right? So if you take it from Conte to now, yes, the players are different, but he was able to forget the Scudettos, but he was able to get further, to Champions League finals or whatever. But no, he's not going to come.
Principe, I'm not convinced Conte is going to Juve. That's number one. Number two, if Allegri were to leave Juventus, I highly doubt he would go back to Milan. A, because he's not guaranteed Champions League. B, because Leonardo and Maldini are going to be able to run the show. We don't know about Leonardo. We'll touch on that later.
Mm-hmm.
And two, Allegri is destined for the EPL. That's where the money is. You see the type of. I'm gonna judge a book by its cover. He looks like a guy who, you know what? I've done this much. I want to get paid. I want to get paid.
That's the way the world
Pochettino hasn't really done much besides now getting them to the Champions
He wants
League.
17 million. a year.
17 million. Come on.
Ah, he wants
Pochettino.
Pochettino. No, it's Chet because he's Spanish.
Yeah.
You're right.
So too much moolah, my friend.
Eggs and pancakes, Alessandro.
Wait, we have tea, pepperoni, and an eggs and pancake.
Do you think Leonardo should be let go at the end of the season? What happens to you two and the podcast when the season is over? Cheering for the Alouettes? Alessandro.
No, first of all, let's start. The podcast never rests.
We don't.
We don't rest.
We might take a week off.
Yeah.
A week off here, a week off there, but we never rest. We always give you, there's always something to talk
Little
about.
tidbit.
Right? And no, Alouettes, don't even know.
No.
Please ask Tommy what he thinks of the Juventus New Jersey.
Now we gotta call Tommy.
I told him, I go, Tom, I'm not sure. I go, he's going a bit long. I go, I'll see what we could do. And he's going to be all surprised at me.
Yeah.
He's going to be all excited.
The Juventus jersey, in my opinion, before Tommy talks, is crap.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you, Mr. Tommy?
How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. And, it's, I knew that maybe we weren't be able to call you because we ran a bit long, but one of the Twitter questions is asking you directly a question. So I needed to call you and ask you. So let me go right ahead.
What is the question? Before we even start, I just would like to say, you see how corrupted Serie A is?
How?
You see how corrupted it is?
How?
Milan
Oh, you're
wanted
talking
to
about
play
Juventus.
at the same time as l'Atalanta. And what did they say? The answer was no. Out of the blatant corruption of La Serie A, everything not to see Milan in the Champions League this year.
But we still got 2 games before we get the final say, right? So we'll see about that. But Frank the Tank is asking you from the Twitter world. Where is he, Frank the Tank, from? Let me see over here. He's from Sydney, New South Wales,
Yes.
Australia. He wants to know, please ask Tommy what he thinks of Juventus' New Jersey.
È una merda.
I saw the jersey. It's a completely disgrace. But anyways, the team is a disgrace. So no comment. For me, it's an merda complete.
And
If
I
you were
agree.
to tell me the next year, Milan's jersey, but that would be a question. I haven't seen it yet, but I know it will be un capolavoro, my friend.
We'll see, but so everybody, Steve was just saying one thing. You want to tell him, Steve?
So for me, the Juve jersey, I get it, and I read a couple of things in terms of like to increase sales in North America. Apparently, the sales weren't as good as they projected because the Juventus jersey, oddly enough, reminds everybody of an NFL referee. So we all know how the Americans love the North Americans, myself included, love football. I get it. Tell me you want to change your second jersey or your third jersey to that, I have no problem with that. But if you want to be taken seriously, as all Juventini do, as a prestigious club that has 389 Scudettos, however the hell they count their goddamn Scudettos.
Hold on, right there.
You have to.
How many Coppa dei Campioni they have?
Yeah, I understand. They have one. You have to keep with tradition. If Milan would do that with their home jersey, the traditional red.
No, that would be.
We buzz when there's different sizes of stripes. Could you imagine no stripes at all?
Yeah. No, that's a bit bad. But
that will be out of the question.
Tommy, but Steve made me realize something before we let you go. You saw the video that I made with Tommy, and what did you have to tell him, Steve?
Tommy, you need to do a video about a particular player for the next 2 games, because every time you do a video about a particular player, that player scores.
So he said Çalhanoğlu is a cadaver.
Çalhanoğlu is do another one even of Çalhanoğlu if you want.
He said that the starting lineup he wasn't convinced. And the Bakayoko he was well, no choice.
No, but look, I'm still not convinced, because you know why? Milan played good in the first half. I have to give it to them. They came out, they played good. What happened in the second half? They fell asleep.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God that Fiorentina didn't capitalize at the time. Thank God. You cannot allow yourself to sleep, especially now. You have to come out. 1-0 is not enough. Go for a 2. Go for a 3-0. Secure your lead. Secure your lead, because there is no second chance anymore. You screw up one game and you're out.
So we'll see each other on Saturday, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll see what Juventus does with Atalanta. Are we seeing each other on Saturday?
Even that Juventus is giving a straight pass to Roma. They did it with Roma, and they're probably going to do it with Atalanta. I have no faith. I wouldn't put my not even 25 cents in the hand of Juve to give a pass to Milan. That is not going to happen. It never did before, and now it's not going to happen today. I don't have faith in Juventus at all. The only thing that they might help is that they're playing at home, and maybe they want to win for their people, but it's not to give a pass to Milan.
So
quite frankly, if Atalanta goes to Champions League, what are they going to do? They're going to go there to get beaten up? Milan has a better chance than Atalanta, quite frankly, in the Champions League.
We'll see where we stand after the Saturday. Maybe I'll see you, Tommy, this Saturday.
I hope so. I don't know yet, but I hope so.
Well,
but if I'm there or if I'm not there, my heart is with Milan.
Always there in spirit.
And I hope we win. I really do. We have no choice now.
Well, on that, we bid you a good night and Forza Milan.
Well, like I always said, you guys are great on the show, and I hope next year the show will still be on, because you guys made the show number one.
Number one, and we don't take time off. That's what we're telling people. Maybe a week here, a week
exactly.
there, but we'll always have Tommy time.
That's the most important thing. During the day, sometimes, at lunchtime, I log in, I look at, I watch the podcast, and you know what? It's enjoying. I like the podcast. It's amazing.
Well, that's what we have you on. So you just add on to the entertainment. We got to get back to our Twitter questions. Tommy, buonasera e Forza Milan.
Forza Milan, guys.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Before I forget, Alex too from the Milan Weekly, the Milan Club chat was asking, if we don't make Champions League and financial fair play, what if PSG comes with a big offer for Donnarumma? Would you not? I think I'm just gonna throw it back to you. What would be your number?
70.
I don't have a problem with 70. I think 70 I would probably sell for 70. Alex, that's what we probably do, because for you to sell an amount of players to get 70 million back, who are you selling? Suso ain't gonna get you 40 million at this time of the year. Calhanoglu ain't gonna get you more than 10, 15.
70 million.
Kudroni might get you what, 20?
70 million. And I would even go higher. I would even go to 80. Like 80, between 80 and 70. If it would give me 75, I would be happy, because I figured that 75 would compensate for losing 3 players.
I want 70 after paying off everybody. After paying off Raiola, after paying off I want 70 in Milan's pockets. Yeah. That's what I would like. And last question from at Miss Tagal MOS. Hello, hi. With financial fair play restrictions looming and potential no shell, what do you think we should sell by in order to strengthen the squad? Also, who's your ideal manager now that Conte is off the board? Love the show, fellas. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. We spoke about it a bit with Antonio. There's the whole Di Francesco now. It's like we're changing for $1 for 4 quarters. Conte's off the market. Pochettino, the way he's been talking that he wants $17 million a year. We need somebody that can act, Guardiola, if he wants to take $500,000 a year, we'll take him. Somebody that can actually change. But Gasparini, Antonio's points on Gasparini made a lot of sense. Steve's points made a lot of sense to me as well. But honestly, I can't really pinpoint a specific.
I want to know.
At this point, keep Gattuso.
What's his name?
Moss.
We get this question a lot.
From Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. We get this question a lot. It's hard. It's really hard for me to play with no money. Champions League points me in one direction. I would strengthen my midfield. I would pick up a couple of those Ajax players. Yeah. I had an epiphany.
You had an epiphany?
I had an epiphany of, for some reason, picking 3 of those Ajax players to bring them to Milan for the Champions League. Remember when we did that the last time?
Yeah.
Now, not up until now, not the same class of those 3 that we picked the first time, but youth. I would like to strengthen with youth. Manager. I would like someone who is a game manager. We experimented with the people managers and the man managers. I need a game manager. I need someone who can adjust in game. There's not a lot out there. It's hard. With the preparation these guys put, it's hard. I get it. But there is some that are out there, and I would love to have one of them. Liverpool went through something like this before. Yes, the English Premier League money, if you finish last, you probably make more than the champion of Serie A. But that's Serie A's problem. That's not Liverpool's problem.
Yeah.
They started with the coach. They went and buy Klopp, who, make fun of him. He lost the final. He's in the final again. That's all you can ask for. He's able to attract players. They also have money to pay the players. So it leads you to different direction in Champions League. Out of Champions League, you gotta get intelligent now. Now it's time to build a project. I know we've been saying this a lot, but I really believe it. If we don't make Champions League, we're gonna be set back. But if we make the right moves and create a project, I think we can take 1 step back and 3 steps forward. I truly believe it, but they have to be patient with the project.
We'll see where we're at in 2 weeks from now, right? Guys, time for Brioshki. This has been a long one.
Brioshki, guys.
So, guys, thank you to... we're actually having a contest. So if you guys that never knew what Brioshki is, here it is, right? Basically to italplus.ca, check them out, and they gave us a case to give away. There should be a link in. Check your emails, guys. Check your spams. You'll be able to get. Milan Club
Unfortunately,
members.
due to shipping costs, we're gonna have to keep it in the greater Montreal area. But
Yeah, and
we're trying.
Montreal area and the Milan Club members already entered.
But
so
I'm pretty sure, guys, wherever you are in the world, someone sells brioche.
Exactly. The indigestion of the week, which I am under indigestion, that's why we need to speed this up because I can't take
this
it
guy
anymore.
is gonna get me sick.
Indigestion of the week, he's talking about Allegri after the loss to Roma, commenting on Florenzi's goal. Games like this is worthless. If the game had any value, Chiellini would be launching the ball into the stands. That's his, I'm going to go with Victor Hugo that had to demonstrate to the ref, this is what he did to me. And the ref said, that's okay, I understand, no yellow card, no this, no that, and that, but Paquetá went a bit like this and he got 3 games. That's my indigestion of the week, Steve.
Yeah. Indigestion of the week for me, guys, is, Tommy touched on it a bit. I'll go in a little bit deeper. Milan's request to be playing at the same time of Juventus Atalanta.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that. I find the answer by Serie A bullshit. We touched upon it multiple times in the podcast where I always said, if you're gonna go in the realm of video replay, video assistant replay, go get informed from the best people, the people that have done it before. That's the NFL. Hey, I'm gonna show you something else now, Serie A, and please guys, spread it out. NFL has a flex schedule. NFL is a money-making machine.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to do it right. The flex schedule is put in place so that they make sure that during the end of the season, if they have a game that's scheduled for prime time that doesn't mean anything, they will flex that schedule and insert a game that means something.
There's your indigestion for Steve.
So that's
Makes
2
sense.
teams playing against each other. If it's a battle between 2 teams that are playing in 2 different games, they'll make them play at the same time. And we can just go, if Italians, you have trouble understanding American English, look to your friends in the EPL. This weekend, all their games were at 10 o'clock.
Well, because it was the last game of the season, Steve.
100%.
Yeah.
But they were all at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but Serie A is always, unless they'll change the hours, but they're always scheduled the last day itself. But this would have been a change because
it would have been a time to flex. You're talking. A lot of people have been talking to us about money, guys. Put your shit out on multiple platforms, multiple channels, and you'll be able to watch all the games.
The brioche of the week. I gotta give it to Florenzi. Honestly, you're too small to talk, Ronaldo tells him, right? And he actually goes out and scores after that. That was pretty sweet. But the brioche, honestly, Presidente saying the chemistry showed by Hakan and Suso was fun to watch. It's been a very long time that we see anything like that. And I think I'm going to take what Antonio said, the professionalism of Gattuso and Bakayoko to put their personal feelings behind and for the greater the team. For that's a good brioche for you, Steve.
My brioche is brioche. That's my feel-good thing.
So
we're a little podcast, guys.
I'm gonna stop pooping if I take it.
No, you're gonna just feel great.
Okay.
We're a little podcast, guys. We love doing this. We love doing this for everybody, all our listeners. This is my feel-good moment. Someone, and thanks to Il Presidente to reaching out, was nice enough to send us, and we're not NFL type sponsorship, but hey, they gave us something that we put together just to make you guys laugh, and this fantastic product so that we can send it out to everybody. A small little podcast of 2 guys who love Milan. Tommy is included in the podcast as well. Presidente, who does all the editing, and thank God he gives me material to put him in perspective. All our fans, you guys we're all one big podcast. That's my brioche.
And something that's actually going to be consumed as a gift code.
Guaranteed.
Guys, ci vediamo la settimana prossima. Maybe a quick video on Saturday. I don't know if Steve can make it on Saturday. If not, guys, ovunque, sempre.
Forza Milan!
Ciao.